Alright, so here's another update. So I've had the brand new 60s Les Paul Standard. Just got it a couple days ago. Just took it out of the case today. After a couple days. So basically what I've done, I played it first and just felt amazing, played amazing. Setup was perfect, action was great. I'm not changing the height on any of this. Those are just going to go right back on like they were. All I've done, I took the strings off. I cleaned the fretboard really well, just with, your standard Dunlop. That had like residue and stuff, which I assume is from when they pleck it. I would think that the frets probably get filed and, there's residue that's got to be left over. I doubt that they got somebody coming around after and like really cleaning the fretboard. Like, I'm sure they like dust it off and brush it off, maybe wipe it a little bit, but I got in there with, with the polishing cloth and, fretboard cleaner and like really gave it a good cleaning. And then I used the buffer on this little multi-file thing just to kind of just lightly go over each fret just to give them an extra little bit of shine. That's all I did, and I could see a difference. So I'm assuming there's just like some residue left on the fretboard. So I got all that cleaned off. I put a little more oil on it to let it soak in, because it did look a little bit dry, but you can see it's soaking it up. I'll probably go over it one more time just to kind of get any excess off. Maybe put a little more in some areas. We'll see. I mean, it's looking pretty good, but I'll probably put a little more in there and then wipe it down so it's nice and even, so there's not, you don't want like extra just sitting on there. And then I went ahead and swapped out the tuners for the locking Grovers. Stuck with Grover because I wanted it to still look stock, but obviously, like most people, I like the locking tuners. I did just barely just kissed that G-string nut slot just on the edge where the string is pressing against, that outer little corner, just to barely kind of maybe smooth it out a little bit. I don't know that it necessarily needed it, but it looks good. The nut looked good, the strings were sitting in it really good, so I didn't want to do much. And then there was, so the pickups had some discoloration, but I used just, basic, this is the cleaner, this is a little kit you can get. I used the cleaner and just kind of went over it because I'd been working on it, and I hit the pickups and the discoloration came right out. So, I wasn't worried because I kind of thought it looked cool actually, but it's brand new guitar, so it's nice that it looks brand new. So I'm just gonna go ahead and maybe hit this fretboard like one more time and then string it up. And like I said, I'm not doing anything to the string height at this point because it felt perfect. And I was thinking about switching the strings from 10s to the I have a set of the Ernie Ball. I think I have them down here. I picked these up just because I thought I might try them out. I thought they'd be kind of cool because I like the heavier strings, and being as this is a Les Paul with a little bit of a shorter scale length, I thought maybe it couldn't hurt. But because this guitar is brand new and it was set up so good, I'm not even gonna risk going up in the string gauge, even though it's only like a half. It's not like it's significant. I'm just gonna go ahead and put the 1046s back on it because it felt just right. So I don't want to risk you know, doing anything to it. And then, you know, down the road, I'll probably at some point, maybe next time around, I'll put those on and see how they feel. You know, once the guitar is kind of broken in and the nut slots are kind of, you know, settled in a little bit more, then the little bit of a bigger string gauge probably won't do anything to it. But I figured I'll go right back to the stock string size because it was playing great. So yeah, this is it. I'm super happy. I love doing this type of stuff to the guitars right after I get them. I think it's a great way to bond with your guitar. I think if you expect it to be perfectly clean and everything like exactly, I don't know, I like the process of doing this. I think it makes you just feel better about having it. Like it's just like you bond with it, you know, and you feel like you almost like contributed to like the final stages of getting it just right before you start playing it for the foreseeable future. And I really enjoy that. So I think more people should maybe consider that when they buy new guitars, instead of complaining that, you know, the fretboard wasn't perfectly clean or the polish, you know, the frets weren't like super shiny. It's like, just do those things for you, you know. Like I guarantee you the guy who built this is probably thinking like, nah, let them do it, you know, because, you know, I think if you really play guitar a lot, you should probably learn some of this stuff. It's not, you're not going to destroy it by doing just little tiny things. If you do, then, you know, hey, you know, maybe you're just the type of person that really just shouldn't touch anything, I guess. But if you have any kind of like handy skills at all, you know, I do electrical work for a living, so this stuff doesn't scare me. When you're building electrical systems throughout the day and you realize like it's really just putting stuff together where it needs to go. This is not as complicated as, you know, troubleshooting an electrical system. So I'm not afraid of taking, you know, the tuners off and on. It's just, you know, it's parts, you know, you take them off, put them back. You know, when I did the tuners, I would recommend when you put the tuners in, you put everything in loose, like meaning the, you know, the washers on the, and the, you know, the nuts on top kind of finger tight, and then same with the screw on the back, just kind of snug but not tight, and then you want to go like back and forth so that you tighten it down evenly from both sides. Because if you screw one side and you tighten this real tight and then you go in back and you tighten this real tight, it's probably not going to sit as even. So like little things like that, if you're, you know, if you decide to do things like, you know, change out tuners, keep that in mind. You know, that's just little stuff, like little small skills that can kind of help with doing things like that and not being afraid to try stuff, you know. So anyways, I'm excited. One of these days I will get some videos of me actually playing it. Been practicing a lot. I'm playing pretty good, but yeah, so there we go.